Happening now, the latest on a new attendance policy barring youth under the age of 18 from local home baseball games without adult supervision. And the latest on a town of Gerry fire that destroyed a home over the weekend. Plus, we're learning more about Jamestown's historical districts as we walk around town.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
2 juveniles were injured during a drive-by shooting on Route 60 in northern Chautauqua County last night. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould, and we start with breaking news. The Dunkirk Police Department reporting that this incident happened around 8:30 p.m. Now, according to witnesses, a vehicle was traveling southbound on Route 60 and was passed by another car who then began shooting in their direction. 2 juveniles sustained gunshot wounds as a result. The vehicle stopped at the Quick Fill in Fredonia, where they were later intercepted by medical personnel before being transported to Brooks Hospital for treatment of their injuries. The Dunkirk Police Department is asking anyone who may have witnessed this incident to contact their desk. The number to do so is 716-366-2266. You can also leave a message to the department's confidential tip line. That number is 716-363-0313. At this hour, we're still working to determine a condition for those shot. And a Jamestown baseball team has rolled out a new attendance policy barring youth under the age of 18 from their home games without adult supervision. WNY News Now's Alyssa Wright has more on the new rules following a slew of disturbances involving youth at various Tarp Skunk baseball games at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park. Alyssa?
That's right, Justin. The team's management just announced that the new attendance policy, it was announced in a statement on social media on Sunday. One Jamestown lawmaker tells us that this has been an ongoing issue with unattended youth at the games.
We've been to probably a dozen of the home games this year. And at the beginning, it was cool and we were always comfortable there. But the most recent few home games, we just had a couple of uncomfortable situations. The one that sticks out in my mind the most, a couple weeks ago, the free game, there was just a large group of young kids just running around and yelling. And they ended up sitting next to us in the stands and there weren't a whole ton of people there. And it made us pretty uncomfortable. My girlfriend was really uncomfortable. She thought they were maybe trying to steal her purse because they kept getting closer and closer and just being kind of weird. So we ended up leaving in like the 7th or 8th inning just because it was pretty uncomfortable.
This new guideline has amassed a mixed response from the public, some believing all children shouldn't be held accountable for the misdeeds of others, while many are praising the Tarp Skunks, happy that this policy will help make the games more enjoyable for spectators.
I think maybe the 18 threshold is a little high. I'm on board with doing something to make it, comfortable for everybody. And I've seen a couple people reached out and said that it's good because people were treating the stadium like a daycare. They're dropping their kids off and kids were unattended. And I have seen some of that, but on the flip side of that, I have had a couple people reach out to me saying, this sucks because my kid's 17. He's not 18 yet. He can drive himself. He's respectable. He attends all the home games. He spends his money at the stadium. They buy food. They pay the entry. And now he can't go anymore.
We have reached out to the Tarp Skunks team for more clarification of the rules, and as of our broadcast, we are still waiting a response to our inquiry. Live in the studio, Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. A 46-year-old Jamestown man incarcerated at Chautauqua County's jail, accused of covering himself in bodily fluids, causing a disturbance and then harassing a jail employee. The sheriff's office reports this incident involving Winifred Clark happened back on July 10th. Winifred was charged with aggravated harassment of an employee by an inmate, a Class E felony. And a town of Gerry home was destroyed by fire over the weekend. The Gerry Volunteer Fire Department was called to a residential fire on Damon Hill Road around 1:30 Sunday afternoon. While all of the human occupants of that home made it out okay, Gerry firefighters, along with several other area departments providing mutual aid, rescued 3 cats and 2 lizards from inside the blaze. The cats were given oxygen via a special pet mask. They were eventually released to the family. The Sheriff's Office Fire Investigation Team reports that blaze originated in a dryer vent. The house is likely a total loss. The American Red Cross now assisting the family. And a group of ducklings were rescued by state police on Interstate 86 near Jamestown. New York State Police announced the news in a post on their Facebook page Sunday. Troopers based out of the Jamestown barracks rounded up these baby ducks on I-86. The ducklings' mother, troopers said, was hit by a car, leaving those babies stranded. But thanks to the troopers' rescue, the ducklings were turned over to the State Department of Environmental Conservation to be rehabilitated. Certainly, probably one of the cutest stories we'll see today. And the city of Jamestown has added another name to their repertoire of famous inhabitants of the Pearl City, this one being the 10,000 Maniacs. The alternative rock band first appeared in the 80s, rocking the world with their take on the genre. And as a tribute to the band's 40th anniversary, spearheaded by Mayor Eddie Sundquist and other leaders, decided to add the group's name to their catalog of famous Jamestown inhabitants. They placed a sign upon the city entrance on North Main Street showing that the city is home to this popular group.
Well, we're so excited today to be able to include 10,000 Maniacs on our list of really notable and incredible people in the city of Jamestown that have really contributed to the fabric of the work that we do here. When the 10,000 Maniacs were going to do their 40th anniversary show in the city of Jamestown, we got a request from Councilman Brent Sheldon to say, hey, can we commemorate them some way in the city? And so after some long supply chain issues and trying to get some signs made, we were finally able to bring them here and honor them as the home of 10,000 Maniacs here in the city of Jamestown.
And now, other famous names that made that list include Lucille Ball, Roger Tory Peterson, and Robert H. Jackson. 10,000 Maniacs. Certainly, we know all about that here in Jamestown. And some of the weather may be a little crazy out there, too, although maybe not so much today, as we are dealing with a couple of rain showers. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us live with that. And Dakota, much needed rain across the area.
Yes, it is. This is rain that we've all been needed. So Mother Nature finally answered our calls, but it's starting to dry out now a little bit, Chautauqua Lake, but notice the cloud cover. This is pretty much going to stay with us throughout much of the day. But look at these rainfall totals from last night and then this morning, almost 1.5 inches in Dunkirk, a little more than an inch in Fredonia, and also in Gerry, Clymer, Jamestown, about 85 hundredths of a inch. In Randolph, a little more than 1/2 inch. And we're going to get a little bit more rain as we go throughout the day. So the radar is showing you the widespread rain now pushing off to the northeast. This is way north of the area now, but the rain is turning more scattered in nature. So we are going to continue to deal with scattered rain showers and maybe a couple rumbles of thunder through the afternoon hours as well. The high yesterday was 77. We started the day at 64, 93, and 43 are the records. So just periods of showers, a few rumbles possible. Turns again more scattered through the afternoon and still muggy, 71 to 76 with a southwest wind. Now this week is mainly going to be wet, but not a total washout. We'll talk about it later with that Ultimate Satellite Solution 7-day later in the show, Justin.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining somewhere, Dakota. Thank you. As we continue the latest efforts here in the Empire State to combat monkeypox, and later an update on campaign finances in the race for New York's governor. Stay with us. WNY News Now will be right back after this.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
What is going on, my New York friends? My understanding is that you're in school for a little bit longer than most people, but I got some good news for you. Where are you going to be on September 10th? in Jamestown, New York with me at 7 o'clock at the Reglena Theater. And you can get your tickets at reglena.com, REGLENNA.com. Make sure that you grab those now. It's going to be so much fun. Jamestown, New York, September 10th. Come and have fun with me.
When severe weather breaks, one team has you covered, tracking the storms as they happen. Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
Stay fire safe this summer. Only use grills outdoors, away from siding and deck railings. Clean grills often and remove grease or fat buildup. Make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting. Have a 3-foot safe zone around grills and campfires. Keep kids and pets clear of the area. Dispose of coals after they cool in a metal can. Never leave grills, fire pits, and patio torches unattended. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
New monkeypox cases are surging across the United States. The CDC is reporting it will prioritize vaccine distribution to hard-hit cities like New York City, the epicenter of this virus. We're hearing from public health officials here in New York who say they're prepared for monkeypox cases to arise throughout the state. WENY's Alexandra Dern reports.
Monkeypox is a contagious virus. Typically presenting with like rashes or bumps or flu-like symptoms.
Lorelei Wagner is the public health education coordinator for Steuben County Public Health. She says this virus was mainly found in parts of Africa. Now the virus is spreading internationally.
Over the last month or so, we started seeing it kind of spread around the world. And so we are starting to see some cases in New York, primarily in New York City area.
Wagner says the symptoms of monkeypox differ from chickenpox or smallpox. There are ways to differentiate the rashes you may see on your skin.
They're deep-seated, kind of raised bumps. You can't pop them like a pimple, so they have a unique kind of root or a look to them.
Wagner says the bumps can be painful and irritating. A person with monkeypox can also experience flu-like symptoms.
Headache, body aches, swollen lymph nodes can come along with it that may present before or after the rash or not at all.
Wagner says monkeypox is contracted typically through close contact. People can prevent getting monkeypox by being aware of the symptoms and not engaging in sexual contact, sharing clothing, bedding, or towels until you have been tested by a medical professional. Wagner says the vaccine Genos will be made available by New York State for anyone who tests positive for monkeypox.
I don't know if you want to say the nice thing about this is once someone has been either infected or a contact, they can be given the vaccine to prevent severe illness from it.
Officials go on to say that with most vaccines, a person who wants to get it administered before they're exposed to the virus is best. If monkeypox does come in contact and then someone gets the vaccine, it will help lessen symptoms. The gunman charged with killing 10 black people in a racist mass shooting at a Buffalo supermarket is scheduled for arraignment today on an indictment that could make him eligible for the death penalty if found guilty. Among the hate crimes and weapons counts, the 27-count federal indictment handed up last week contains special findings, including that Peyton Grengen engaged in a substantial planning to commit this act of terrorism and at vulnerable adults. The Justice Department said a decision on whether to seek the death penalty against the shooter who turned himself, who at 19 and on June 19th would come later. Grengen, who live-streamed this May 14th attack, was arrested outside of the entrance at Top Friendly Markets on Jefferson Street in Buffalo after donning body armor and opening fire on weekend shoppers and employees inside the parking lot in the building. 3 people were also wounded in that attack. Now, the store reopened to the public last week, 2 months after the deadly attack. And Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul has a campaign war chest 7 times the size of Republican challenger Lee Zeldin ahead of this November election. State campaign finance reports due last Friday now show Hochul has $11.7 million in the bank, compared to the $1.6 million reported by Zeldin. a U.S. representative from Long Island. The fundraising gap between the two candidates is steep in a state where Democrats already have the voter registration edge and legislative supermajorities. Republicans are hoping to muster an upset by painting Democrats as easy on crime and governmental corruption. But the GOP faces a tough fight too. The state's Republican Party had about $80,000 in the bank as of July 11th. That's less than the 1/4 of the state's Democratic Party's $376,000 war chest for this fall's election. And last week, legislation that put an end to PennDOT's private partnership, or P3, bridge tolling initiative was shut down there in Pennsylvania. PennDOT began exploring bridge tolling as a transportation revenue option back in November of 2020. Now, nearly 2 years later, they're exploring other options. State Capitol correspondent Brendan Scanlon explains.
You won't see any tolls on this Interstate 83 bridge in Harrisburg or any of the other 8 bridges that were destined for tolling. Last week, PennDOT's plan to use toll revenue for the reconstruction of the 9 bridges received its third and final strike.
The third strike that hit bridge tolling last week was when the General Assembly reached a deal with the governor's office during the course of debating the final budget deal.
Senate Bill 382, now Act 84 of 2022, shuts down the plans and makes changes to the P3 process, signaling a compromise between Wolf and lawmakers who've been outspoken since the beginning in order to finalize the budget.
The last thing that we need are more tolls.
But like many Pennsylvania roadways, PennDOT still has holes as well in their budget. Hopes of patching those holes with tolls now diminished.
This wasn't the way to do it. We have to go back to the drawing board, but we still have to come up with something.
For those who fought the plan from the start,
this is a huge win. Tolling would have been disastrous for trucking in Pennsylvania. There's no doubt about it.
A relief not just for Rebecca Euler and the Pennsylvania Motor Truck Association, but for the municipalities who filed suits in Commonwealth Court, resulting in the first 2 strikes, a temporary injunction in May and then a permanent one in June. Potential economic impacts, local traffic rerouting, and PennDOT's process, all factors that ultimately led to the third strike.
They were done sort of behind closed doors and weren't open to the public or done in a very transparent manner at all.
And in the new state budget, $175 million from the Motor License Fund will be rerouting from the state police to PennDOT to address road and bridge improvements. It's certainly not the number that PennDOT needs, but it's a small step in the right direction. Reporting for Erie News Now in Harrisburg, I'm Brendan Scanlon. Back to you.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Coming up, many are starting to learn about the history carved deep within the city of Jamestown. That following a series of architectural tours. We take a behind-the-scenes look at those in just a bit. But first, a full look at our weather forecast and how long this much-needed rain will stick around.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
It's never too soon to celebrate the holiday season, and this year, Christmas in July in Jamestown is better than ever. First, the Jamestown Tarp Skunks will take the field at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park on Friday, July 22nd, with a fireworks show to follow. Festivities continue on Saturday, July 23rd, featuring a color run for kids and adults at the Northwest Arena starting at 9 a.m. Then, the Jamestown Public Market is partnering with Toys for Tots to host a craft fair and a downtown sidewalk sale. Also, a 12-team curling tournament will be ongoing at the arena later in the night. Join us for a Christmas-themed movie outside the National Comedy Center with a screening of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation at 6:30. All you'll need is a lawn chair. And finally, to cap the day, the Greater Jamestown Riverwalk will play host to a special holiday village starting at 8 p.m. Learn more online at ccsolutions716.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Wanted to start off with the water level at the Chattacoin River because we've had, some decent rainfall over the past 24 hours, but the water level is looking good. The current water level is a little more than a half a foot right now, and seeing more water last night. We were in a 4-inch rainfall deficit, so this rain is welcome. It's 70 degrees as of noon hour right now, but that dew point of 68 doesn't make it feel that much more refreshing. Obviously, when the dew point is very close to the air temperature, that means that there's a lot of moisture in the air, and that means that means your sweat can't evaporate off your body when the dew point is that high. And really, we're not going to see much relief in terms of the muggy meter. We are going to drop back from the muggy to the humid category, but that's where we're going to stay throughout much of this week. But we are watching Wednesday. The Storm Prediction Center has the westernmost areas under a standard slight risk, a level 2 out of 5, and a marginal risk, a level 1 out of 5 for the eastern southern tier. The main threats with this is mainly looking like damaging wind gusts and maybe some large hail. We'll keep our eyes on this as we go throughout the next couple of days. This is what's left of the rainfall right now in First Defense Doppler. It's turning into more scattered rain showers, and this is what we're going to be dealing with throughout the afternoon hours. So the widespread rain has ended, then it's going to turn more scattered, and this is the reason why we have an area of low pressure tracking right over the region. And obviously, you can see the spin in the clouds. Even if I didn't put the little low pressure icon on there, you would have known that's low pressure by the little spin right around it. So the computer modeling paints that idea of scattered showers and a few thunderstorms continuing through the afternoon hours. Clears out for tonight, so we are going to see partly to mostly cloudy skies through the overnight hours. Tomorrow should be dry, a good amount of sunshine, a few clouds mix in from time to time, turns warmer as well. Then we get into our next chance of rain showers by the time we go into Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Better chance for those showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday is going to be in the afternoon. So the day planner for tomorrow, Tuesday, the day we all get down to work, we start at 62, 80 degrees at noon, 83 at 5, with a good mix of clouds and sun. Now the next 7 days, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So we're up to 87 on Wednesday, pop-up showers and thunderstorms with near tropical humidity. Once again, Thursday, much cooler, 77, but notice how we have pretty much a 30 to 40% chance of rain in area throughout much of the weekend, but neither one of those days, Thursday through Sunday, is going to be a total washout, Justin.
All right, thank you, Dakota. Some news from around the nation now. A newly released video and a new report are shedding light on the response to the Uvalde school shooting. An overall logistical approach, including many helped children escape while the shooter was still active. Video shows other lacked key information in the report. The report also faults the school system, the shooter's family, and social media platforms for not doing more. And there have been a lot of bills on abortion introduced lately in Congress following the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe. One local congressman created abortion legislation that has more than 120 congressional Republicans signed on to it. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp heard from Representative Mike Kelly on his proposal.
After the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade, Democrats are trying to enshrine Roe into law.
Democrats are taking action to defend the right to reproductive freedom.
While the chances of legalizing abortion in Congress look slim, Pennsylvania Congressman Mike Kelly has his own proposal. It's called the Heartbeat Protection Act, which would prohibit abortions when a fetal heartbeat is detected.
The heartbeat bill, I think for any of us that certainly where I am in my life and taking children and grandchildren to the doctors, the first thing that usually happens, somebody grabs your wrist to check and see if you have a pulse, or somebody right away puts a stethoscope to you to see if they can detect a heartbeat. And the question is, so why do you think they do that? Well, to see if you're alive.
The bill would require doctors to check for a heartbeat before performing an abortion. According to online medical sources, some heartbeats are detected as early as 5 to 6 weeks into the pregnancy. Those on the pro-choice side of this issue argue that around that same time is when the person finds out they're pregnant. In this bill, it says doctors could face criminal penalties if they perform an abortion without checking for a heartbeat or aborting a child with a heartbeat detected.
It's not designed to penalize any woman that makes that decision, but it is telling doctors, look, you have a responsibility at that point, because now it's up to you to make that decision of, are you going to continue through with that procedure?
Kelly has stated before that the abortion decision should be left up to the states to decide, but this legislation, if passed, would impact all states. We asked him about that.
So we have 50 states. that have certain responsibilities in certain jurisdictions. They can, on their own, through their legislative bodies, make decisions for those people that live in those states.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. And Kelly's heartbeat bill, it would not only apply to abortions that are necessary to save the mother's life. And a super rare orange lobster named Cheddar is headed to a new home. According to Ripley's, the chance of finding an orange lobster is about 1 in 30 million. Boy, it's good they did save him. Next, many are starting to learn the history deeply carved within the city of Jamestown. Following a series of architectural tours, we take you to the latest one that happened over the weekend.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Slow down. Slow down and move over. Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights. Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down. Slow down and move over. When you need help,
It's our job
to help you.
to save you.
Despite the danger.
This danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
Catch your first defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
One of Jamestown's historical districts was over in the spotlight over the weekend, giving those in attendance a chance to learn more about local history and the architect's work to make buildings noticeable. Our Bronson Rasmussen walked alongside the tour and shows us more.
Principal Planner Ellen Shadle, alongside multiple participants, toured the Lakeview Historic District, learning what the area has to offer.
They are to celebrate and increase awareness of the value of our architecture in the historic districts. A lot of times National Historic Districts are designated as such because of their significant architecture.
Amongst the many topics that were discussed on the tour was architect C.C. Pedersen, whose work had attracted attention from many nationwide.
One is Carl Pedersen, who is the architect of the Euclid Avenue School, which is now, of course, our Euclid Avenue School apartments, since it's repurposing and adaptive reuse here. And so he is a notable architect for the community in general.
Organizers say the walking tour is an important tool to remember what came before.
The stories of the past also help us inform the stories of the future. And one of the misnomers about preservation and historic preservation, something into before these tours are going to expand outside of our historic districts, particularly into other areas of the city that have significance and meaning to them. They may not have a label or a designation to them, but that doesn't make them any less significant.
The next planned tour will focus on the Forest Heights Historic District on August 6th. While a date has not yet been set, other tours could be in the works, highlighting various parts of the city, including Brooklyn Square, which has changed so much since urban renewal in the 60s and 70s. Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, thank you. A little jealous you got that report. Pretty cool, and definitely going to be looking to check out one of those tours in the coming future. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and in our free mobile app. We'll leave you with this live look over Lakewood. Stay dry today. We'll see you back here tomorrow live at noon.